Hey guys, I'm Coco. Today I wanted to share with you a couple of beginner tips for RimWorld. Over the years I've created more than 1,000 RimWorld videos, and now that RimWorld has finally been officially released, I felt it was appropriate to share with the community what I have learned. If you feel like beginner tips are not for you, don't worry. I also have intermediate and advanced videos coming up soon, so let's jump right in. The first thing I wanted to talk about is how to pick appropriate place when you first generate the world. So, you can always click on any tiles and it's gonna show you, hey, there's small hills, temperate forest, there's temperate forest over here, there's desert over here, there's forest there, there's boreal forest there, there's tundra there, right? But that's not all. You can always click on advance, choose how big your actual map you want to have. You can choose the starting season. You can also, what is actually very important, when you click on a tile, let's say over here, or let's say over here, you need to go always. You can check the planet, you can see the seed, you can see the coverage, but always click on terrain. Tundra over here, as you would expect. You have terrain, you have if there's a road, if there's a river. It's gonna tell you what the movement difficulty is when you travel all over the terrain. If you want to travel somewhere else, it's gonna show you the stone types. Marble is good because building out of marble, it actually gives you a slight beauty to your rooms. If you have granite, it's very useful because that is the sturdiest stone, and building walls out of that, very good. They're also not flammable, unlike steel. It's gonna tell you the average temperatures. It's gonna tell you the growing period. It's gonna tell you the rainfall. All of those things are gonna make your life much easier or harder, depends on what you want to choose. So choose wisely. Next, I wanted to talk about the importance of day and night shifts. You can access that under the strict tab. Now, why would you do that? Some of your pawns might have a night owl trait, so they would prefer to work during the night and sleep during the day. If they do that, if they work during the day, they will get a mood debuff that will make them cranky, and you don't want that. Now also, some of the jobs might prefer working overnight. Say something like cleaning. If you have your cleaner set up during the night while most of your people sleep, then they will wake up to a clean base and they will be happy about it. Same goes for cooking, let's say. If you have your cook work during the night, most of the colonists will wake up in the morning to a fresh meal. Next, your base should always be in a home zone. Now, lucky for you, when you start playing a game, that's going to be automatically generated for you. Or you can always paint it with the expand home zone or clear home zone buttons. Now the thing is, when your base gets bigger, sometimes it's gonna start being painted way out there that you don't want to really have it home zoned, because your pawns will go out there and clean this area even though you don't necessarily want it. Now, not many beginner people know that, but there's a very nice button over here that toggles the automatically expanding the home area around the new constructions. Turn that off when you start playing a bit bigger, and then you can always just clear the zones out there that you don't want, and no one's gonna clean those. Those are gonna be out there, but make sure that you don't actually get the walls out there, because if the walls are not in the home zone, they will not get repaired. So make sure those are painted, and always don't forget when you build new stuff to actually go and paint things manually now. There's another important button that not everyone that starts playing this game knows about. Shift clicking. So, if you want to queue up your people to work multiple jobs at the same time, you can use shift clicking. So, grab one of your colonists, tell them to go cut this tree, let's say, and then if you hold down shift, you can tell them, hey, after you cut down that tree, go work on the wall over here, let's say, or go deconstruct the ship chunk, or whatever you want them to do. Sometimes your people will, when you set them to build, like, let's say a big wall, they'll want to just build a tiny piece and then go rest or something like that. Well, if you shift click, they will automatically go and build all the walls before they go to sleep. But just remember, they might get cranky because of that. Now, if you're using wind turbines for your power generation, then you might find them being blocked sometimes by trees. Now, what you can do about this, there's a couple of options. You can always build floors beneath the zone where this thing is working, and nothing can grow. Of course, that can be quite expensive. The other easy things you can do is you can plant crops. Of course, don't plant trees. You can plant potatoes, heel root, whatever else you want. You can also put solar generators down there. Solar panels can be nicely put below the wind turbine, and they're not gonna block it. So you get double power generation in a small space that it offers. Just unfortunately, they don't fit in quite snugly. Oh. So, one of the first buildings you'll find yourself creating when you play in RimWorld is a fridge, because you'll soon find out that, especially meat, but most other food, spoils pretty damn fast, and starvation can be quite a problem if you don't handle that soon enough. Now, when you're building a fridge, there's a couple of things to think about. Of course, you can just drop it, maybe mine into a mountain, and that's gonna hold for a while, of course. You need to use proper amount of coolers, looking at how big the space is. You know, you can always go a bit over the top. Power isn't that hard to generate, so it's better to keep your things cool, especially if you live in very hot climate, very warm climate. Look at that, it's 32 degrees out here right now. So, you know, it's something to consider. Maybe just get some extra ones of these. Now, also the most important thing you should be doing is double layering the walls when you build a fridge. Always have double walls, because the temperature will dissipate slower if they are double, right? Roof also, of course, goes without saying. And there's a neat trick with airlocks like this. So when they go through here, if I didn't have an airlock here, the heat from outside will just go in straight inside, right? The 32 degrees will just go straight inside if the door was over here, and that was all when the door was open. Now you have an airlock. You can see in here is -9 currently, 9. Over here is 12, 13, 14, and outside is 32. So this is how the heat properly dissipates. Of course, when you build a fridge, it's always important also to use fast doors. Auto doors are perfect, and also usually wooden doors, steel doors are good at the start. Don't use wooden doors like granite and stuff, because those are very slow early on. So whenever you can afford auto doors, put them into a fridge. That's the most important part. Next thing you should be learning is to use appropriate clothing in an appropriate climate. Now over here I'm living in a very hot desert, so what I would be using is mostly cowboy hats to protect from heat, and also dusters. Dusters are the best for hotter climates. Now of course, if you live in a colder climate, you'll want to use parka when the winter comes and the temperatures will hit -30 degrees or lower. Also put some toques on. You have normal t-shirts and you have button-down t-shirts. Button-down t-shirts can be better. You also need to learn the difference between different materials. Now if you create a parka just out of normal cloth that you can grow and harvest, like over here from cotton plants, of course it's going to be fine, it's going to be okay, also based on the crafting skill of your crafter. But if you get, let's say, better materials, let's say if you go and shear a buffalo, you get buffalo wool, and as expected the wool will protect you much more from cold than just the normal cloth would. Also, of course, there's different materials. They impact how much damage is done to you when you get shot, when you get stabbed, when you get burned. Some protect more from some other things than the others, so that's something you have to learn on your own just by practicing. You can always check out what your guys are wearing. You usually start with some synthetic equipment. You can always press I over here to learn information. So you have armor for sharp, blunt, and heat protection. You also have the insulation for cold and insulation for heat over here. So learn to differentiate those, learn which ones are the best for you. But basically, in hot climates, use dusters. In cold climates, in the winter, use parkas. Otherwise, jackets will probably be fine. Or also use dusters, because dusters are generally pretty dang good. So by now you probably learned that power from solar generators and power from wind turbines is not so reliable as, let's say, power from geothermal generators. So you use batteries, correct? But sometimes you get an event that blows everything up and just depletes the batteries. And maybe just at that point you had raiders come in and you definitely need that power to power your turrets. What do? I would advise you always keep a couple of batteries out of the main grid. As you can see, these ones are currently not connected. But what I can do is always just go over here, flick the switch, tell Hermine over here to go flick the goddamn switch. There you go. And you will be able to see this is now connected, ensuring its power to the whole grid. Because it wasn't connected to the main grid when the shortcut actually happened, it didn't get burned out and the power stayed there. And now you have power to kill the raiders if that's what you desire. So you survived your first raid. Congratulations. Congratulations. So the nasty after effect of some of these raids can be corpses, hopefully not your own, hopefully those of the enemies. And corpses give mood debuffs to your colonists when they see them. They don't like seeing corpses, no. They don't like seeing blood on the floor either. So there's something you always want to do. Of course, you can always grab the human corpses, butcher them, which will give more negative debuffs to your people, and make hats out of their leather. But that's something more advanced. Now we are going for beginner stuff, so what you can do is build some graves. Get your people to just bury those corpses. You can strip them first, get some good equipment out of that, and then you can go and also hold them, bury them. Just basically get rid of them so your people don't see them. Plop! Got rid of it. Your people actually use the graves for joy stuff, so that's just a bonus. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the effect of cleanliness and sterile tiles. Now, if your kitchen is not clean and you cook there, you'll get food poisoning. If you have butcher's table in the same room as your stove, butcher table counts as dirty, and you can get food poisoning because of that. Also, another thing is, besides just cleaning constantly, what you can do is also put sterile tiles, if you can of course afford that, if you research them. Put those on the floor, gonna make your kitchen more sterile, it's gonna make all the food more clean. Also, sterile floors always in your hospital. It's gonna give you a buff when you heal people. They will not get infected, because if there's blood around while they are lying in a hospital bed, the infection chance is way higher. So make sure that you clean that, and whenever you can, just build some sterile files. They're very useful. And last thing, if you have sterile tiles in your research room, that actually boosts up your research speed. So that's a bonus. It's not exactly needed, but it's a bonus if you want to do it. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something new. Don't forget, there's 2 more tips videos coming soon, so make sure to check them out. And if you enjoy Let's Plays, there's always at least one new RimWorld video on my channel every day, plus multiple other videos from a variety of games. Let me know your thoughts on the video in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more. Until next time, Koko out.